Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is a handover of an Auto Trail V-Line 635 SE. So as we start the walk round on the driver's side of the vehicle first, as this is fitted with an underslung gas tank, just here you've got your level indicator. So what you need to do is you need to turn the engine on, and this will have green lights on it, and it will show you how full your 25 litre underslung gas tank is. Here you have your mains connection point, so if you wanted to charge the van at home or you were on a site, you get your hookup lead, lift the flap on the van, lift the lid on the hookup lead, connect to the vehicle first, then the site, and do it in reverse order when unhooking, along with pressing the blue lever down in the left hand corner to release the pins in the hookup lead for safe disconnection of the cable. On the keys, you do have this little key here, which works your cassette, locker door, and your water filler cap. So what you can do is press both buttons in, pull the orange handle up and slide the cassette free of the motorhome. You can then either carry it or wheel it to your waste disposal point. And then to empty it, all you need to do is remove the grey cap, press the button, tip the content of the cassette out. Once you've tipped it out, put some water in it, because there's normally a tap next to your disposal point. Give the cassette a quick rinse, and then go in with a cap full of chemical. So that cap holds 120 ml of either the blue or the green chemical in the cassette, and then it's good to go back into the motorhome and be used. Underneath here you've got a grey and a blue tap. These are drain down taps. Grey is your grey water waste, so this is your shower water, your hand basin water, your dishes water. And the blue one is your fresh water drain off point, so should you have taken on contaminated water, you're not using the van for a couple of weeks and you want to drain it off, or you drain it off fully for the winter, you'll open them taps and allow the water out. Normally on the way out of the site you'd open the grey one, and then normally when you arrive back at home or you're leaving the site and you're going home and you don't need any water, you can drain off your blue one. But make sure these two taps are fully drained down in the winter to avoid the water from freezing in the tanks below the vehicle. You've got your two fridge vents. You've got your flue for your Truma boiler when operating on gas. You've got your bike rack. So what happens with the bike rack is it does fold down, and then you've got these chocks here which are for the wheels, so they can slide right the way along the rack, and then you would tie your spokes down into those because your wheels sit into the chocks. The straps go through the spokes, and then there'll be two bars which aren't on the bike rack at the moment because not being through the workshop, but once it has been, there'll be two bars here which hold onto the crossbars. And then all you need to do is pop a bike lock around your bikes and around the bike frame to keep the bike safe when leaving the vehicle unattended. Coming to the passenger side of the vehicle, LPG, liquid petroleum gas, and obviously this is a gas tank, so it's 25 litres. So the only way to fill is through this point here. So it's a bayonet fitting. So what you need to do is you need to go to your local LPG centre, so that sell it on the pump. You get the filler, push it in. You want to then twist it and pull the trigger back. It looks like a bit like a gun. You pull the trigger back, and then you press and hold the button on the digital display at the filling station until simply the gas tank doesn't take any more. And something from empty, this will take about £20, £25, and that'll be at full because it's 25 litres. Here you have your freshwater intake. So this is a lockable cap with the key. And what you'll need to do is you'll need to carry yourself a hose pipe with some hose pipe connections, as it's mainly just a brass tap on most sites. So you pop the flat end of the hose into the vehicle and pop the hose lock end and the screw on end onto the tap, because it's a brass tap on sites. Fill it until it overflows, until you're happy there's enough water on board, and that'll be your fresh water filled. And like I said, from the other side, that's how you drain this tank off. You've got your awning, which will show you on collection, but you do have your awning light there as well. Fold out electric step, which retracts when the engine is started, and the switch for that is here. You'd press here for this light to come on. Should the control panel be on, you'll be able to turn this light on and off. You've got your diesel filler here, which opens with the main Fiat ignition key. So this key here will open your diesel filler, which is a lockable cap. Engine battery lives underneath the floor, underneath this compartment. So should you ever need to change it, or you want to put a charger on it in the winter to avoid it going flat, just lift this compartment out and you'll see the top of the battery. Toolkit's underneath the passenger seat, which includes a jack and a brace and a tone eye. And then your bonnet release is just here. So you do have all your fluids to the left hand side. The main one you're going to need is your screen wash. Then these 3 tabs lift off and you can fill the power steering fluid and the coolant. You've got your brake fluid, your oil filler and your dipstick for checking your levels. Paint codes on this sticker here. Should you ever need to jump start the vehicle, because obviously the battery's underneath the cab floor, this is an earthen point here, and then between the air filter and the headlight, if you pop your key in there and lift it up, you can put your positive terminal on there for giving or receiving a jump start. And then you do have your weight plate, so 3.5 ton gross vehicle weight. If you were to put a tow bar on and tow with it, the vehicle and whatever you're towing can't exceed a 6 ton. So you've got a 6 ton train weight, so that's the motorhome, and whatever you're towing can't exceed 6,000 kilograms. To operate your main 12 volt control panel, so all you need to do is the top left hand button will turn either 12 volt on if you aren't hooked up, or if you are hooked up, you'll be able to get 230 volt off mains supply. If you press battery L, you'll be able to view the level of your leisure battery. And you always want the little blue dot to be on battery L, because battery L is the leisure battery, which is designed to work your habitation area. Don't have it on battery V. However, you can view the vehicle battery, but you never want it to stay on battery V. You then want to press it back to battery L, because it will use your van battery and it could flatten your engine battery. You've got your water levels here, so you can see how full your fresh water is. And then should you have enough fresh water on board, you can turn your pump on, which will pressurise your taps, toilet and shower. You've got to have this on to pressurise the water through the taps, otherwise you'll get nothing through the lines. To operate your Truma CP digital control panel, which is a heating and hot water, you'd press and hold to turn it off and press and hold to turn it on. Then you'll get this screen here, which is your standby screen. So to enter the menu, if you just press once, you'll be able to get into the menu. And if you scroll along, so in the top left hand corner, you've got a motorhome with a thermometer in it flashing. This is how hot you want the inside of your motorhome to be. So you have all the way to 30 degrees, or you can have it all the way to off. Depends how hot you want the inside of the van to be. Once you're happy with it, if you just press enter, and that'll preset that to the temperature that you've selected. Moving on, you've got a thermometer and some water. This is your hot water. So if you didn't have any water on board, you'd have it off because you wouldn't want to burn the element out, as it's like boiling a kettle without any water in it. You're going to cause some damage. So you'd have it off. You can have it on eco, which is 40 degrees of heating the water. Or you can have it on hot, which is 60 degrees of heating your water. Or you've got the boost setting, and the boost setting will turn off the heating and prioritise the water first before allowing the heating to then come back on. But what we'll say is just have it on hot, which is 60 degrees. And then you'll see you've got a picture of a gas bottle and electric symbols. So this is what source you're going to physically heat the vehicle or the water off. So you've got gas on it on its own, which you'd use if you were wild camping and had no other source available to heat your water on. You've got a mixture of 750 watts of electric and gas. You've got a mixture of 1500 watts of electric and gas. You'd use mix 2 more in the winter if you're in desperate need to heat your motorhome or the water. And then you do have EL1, which is 750 watts of electric. You may have to use this on smaller CL sites or abroad. And you've got EL2, which is 1500 watts of electric. So it all depends on the amperage the site gives you, will determine whether you use EL1 or EL2. But on most camping, caravan and club sites, you'd use EL2. Then in the top right hand corner, you've got a fan. So it does have a 12 volt fan, which blows around the various parts of the vehicle through the ducting. So you've got eco, or you've got high or boost. So eco takes a smaller feed of 12 volt. High takes obviously a little bit more of 12 volt because it's using more fan speed, and then boost uses all the fan speed, so it's a little bit more louder. So if you're gonna use it when sleeping, have it on eco. And then the bottom left hand corner, you've got a timer, so you can time it to come on and off. Just the once though. Should you need to change the time on the display panel, this is how you do it. And then you've got a spanner in the bottom corner, so should you get a warning triangle in the middle here, you can go to reset, click on it, press preset, and it will restart your control panel, because sometimes they can go a little bit funny. Should you have just hooked up and it's shown that you're not hooked up, reset the control panel and it will sort out any glitches that may occur. In the kitchen area, you've got 3 gas burners. So there you go, you've got 3 lit gas burners. So once you've had them on, if you do, just allow them to cool down so that they're cool enough to touch before you put your glass lid down, because it is glass and the heat will shatter the glass. So do be careful. And then underneath, you've got your grill. And under your grill, you've got your oven. You may want to take your oven shelf and grill pan out when travelling, as it can cause a bit of vibration when on the road. You've also got a 800 watt microwave, so you've got to be hooked up for this to work, and all you need to do is press eco to wake the microwave up, and then you can use it. You've got various storage drawers. This is your cutlery drawer with your built-in cutlery tray. Got storage underneath there for your pots and pans. In here you do have your water pump. So this is your water pump. So when you turn your pump on and open the tap, this will kick in and start pressurizing the water to your taps and toilet and shower. You've also got your gas taps here. So these are 3 gas isolation valves for your fridge, boiler and water heater, and your oven. Should you have any problems with gas, you can isolate it here, or you can isolate the tank itself from underneath the van. But these are mainly for when the vehicle is serviced. The technicians will check that the gas is working accordingly to the right standards by isolating those valves. And then underneath the oven, you do have a lot of storage for various other bits and pieces, pots and pans, food. And then at the back, you've got this little light, so you just need to press the right hand corner for it to come on and off. To operate your Dometic fridge freezer, so what you need to do is press the on button, which is this one here. So turn the fridge on, and then it is three-way. So at the moment it's gone to hook up, which will act as a mains 230 household fridge, because you hooked up. You would use hook up as much as possible when you're on a site, because you've paid for your electric. You also use hook up if you are at home and you are charging the van battery, so the leisure battery, a couple of days before you went away. You'd put your fridge on, you'd allow this to cool down to temperature before going out and getting your shopping, bringing it back and putting it in the fridge the night before to chill. So you'd use hook up then, and then when you do travel from site to site or from home to site and you've pre-chilled the fridge, you've got your shopping in, your shopping's nice and cold, you can use the battery, which is this one here, which is a feed off the engine, not the leisure battery, and it's failing now because the engine's physically not running. So it's when the engine's running, you'll be able to use the battery setting, and it acts as a 12-volt cool box, so it keeps the shopping nice and fresh no matter how long you travel, until you either go back onto hookup or you select gas, which you'd use if you were wild camping, as you'd have no other way of chilling your fridge, freezer. If you didn't have electric, you'd have to use gas. This is your temperature here, so when pre-chilling, have it on 5. Once you pop your shopping in, you may just want to turn it down to 3 or 4, because sometimes it is strong enough to freeze the fridge. And then you've got a little reset button here, which explains there about the reset button. But what you'll want to do is, when you are finished with using the fridge, so say you're parking the van up for a couple of weeks, you're winterizing it, you're not using it for the next 2 months, or you're just not using it for a while, what you need to do is you need to take everything out, and then you need to leave the door open. So on the side of the light, there's this little tab here. If you push it in, these 2 pins come out, and what that'll allow is it'll allow the door not to lock on itself. So you can see the door's loose. It allows air circulation in the top and bottom of the door to stop smells and mold and bacteria from growing in your fridge, because if you did shut the door, it forms an airtight seal, and you'll come back into the van a week later and you'll have a funny smell. It's because you've not left the door open. But you do also have your freezer box, which is removable should you need to, but you've got your freezer box on your fridge. And then when you're not using the fridge, you'd simply just press and hold and turn the fridge off. In the small locker, just on the face of your bench seat, you do have your EC 155 power supply unit. So here you have all your 12-volt fuses. So do carry some spare fuses with you, just in case one does blow a fuse. You can replenish the fuse, and they're all listed, the ampage and what does what here. So just carry an assortment of fuses, and then you can replenish the fuse should you need to. And then this side you do have your main trip tester. So if you didn't think the vehicle was receiving power, you can either do one or two things. You can either try and trip the vehicle out, which will tell you straight away, or you can try and turn your microwave on. If your microwave's not working, because that's a 230-volt item, and this is not tripping, it's not the motorhome end, it's the site end. But you do have your RCD and all your MCBs for your various circuits. tells you here what circuit does what, and then you do have each Auto Trail motorhome has a unique build number. So if you quote that to us when you're needing parts, we'll be able to pop it into the Auto Trail parts system online and find the right parts for your vehicle. So in your underbench storage on your driver's side, you've got your leisure battery here, which is in a battery box. So it's just, so if you ever need to get to it, you've just got to release the strap and you can get to the top of the battery, take the battery out, replenish the battery should you ever need to. But you do also have your main battery fuse, which is this one here, and the holder. You've got your fuse spur for your heating system, so just make sure that's left on, because if it doesn't, you'll get no power from the 230 side to operate your heating on electric 1 and electric 2 for your water or your heating, but your gas will work, so just make sure that's switched on. I would just leave it on and forget about it. And then at the back you've got your Truma boiler. So your Truma boiler holds 10 litres of water at any one time. So there's 10 litres of water in there at the moment. In the summer, you can leave the water in it. It's totally fine because it's not going to freeze. But in the winter, when we're experiencing colder temperatures, it's very important that you drain the water off. No matter if you're using it the following weekend or you've got it parked up for the next 2 months. Drain the van off. So what you need to do is you need to come to the drain down point, and this is your drain down tap, this yellow tap. And it's currently lying down, which means the van is able, or should I say the boiler is able to hold water. So what you need to do is lift this up on end like so, and the 10 litres of water will drain directly out underneath the van. You want to leave that open throughout the time you're not using the van and you've got it parked up either on the driveway or in storage. You then want to open all the taps throughout the motorhome and leave it in the middle position of your mixer taps. You then want to also open your fresh and your waste outside drain down taps so that no water is able to freeze in the motorhome when it's not in use. When you come to reuse it, so you'd lie it back down like so, you'd shut your fresh and your waste outside, you'd shut all your taps inside. You'd then fill it up with a hose pipe outside, like I've shown you how to do so. And then you want to come in, put the control panel on, put the pump on and go to the cold side of the tap first. When you go to the cold side of the tap, you'll get a pressurized flow of water because it's coming direct from the tank underneath the van via the pump to the tap that you've got open. When you go to the hot side, it's then transferring the water from the tank underneath the van into here. So that tap's going to cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises until you get a free flow of water from the hot side of the tap. This is when you know that your boiler's full and your system's primed. So you'd start off with one tap, do them all until they're all working as they should, and then your system's primed and you're ready for the season ahead. So to make the back lounge into a bed, you can either use it as 2 single beds and remove these for extra width, or what you can do is you can pull this section out, pull the other section out, meet them in the middle like so, and then use your backrests into here and form your large double bed. By all means, you can turn everything the other way around so that you get the flatter surface to sleep on. You don't get any bull noses on the cushions, which these are because they're tapered. and put a fitted sheet on, and you can use it as your large double bed, but it's entirely up to you. But that's how you would make it. So lats slide out, infill cushions into the middle. In the locker behind your wardrobe, so you do have your solar panel regulator here, so your controller, and what you can do is you can select here the battery that you want to charge. So the bottom is your leisure battery, off's in the middle, and the top one is your vehicle battery. So that will determine where it sends the charge to the battery that you've selected. And then here you do have your booster for your aerial, so it's a fixed aerial, so you can turn that on and off, or you can just leave it on and it'll go off with the control panel above the door when you knock the 12 volt off. And you've got a min and a max TV booster, so should you be struggling for TV signal, you can max the signal, or if it's too strong and it's on max and it's still pixelating, you may need to just knock it down until you get the perfect picture on your television. All your little reading lights are individually switched, so you do have 4 of them in the back lounge, which are all individually switched, so you can have whichever ones on that you want. This is just your thermostat for your Truma heating, and then you do have a telly point, so you've got a 12 volt aerial point and 230 volt socket. So if I was buying a telly, I would get the 12 volt one, because you can use them wherever you go. If you wild camp, you can use them as long as you've got enough charge in your leisure battery. Whereas if you have a 230 volt TV, you've got to be hooked up for that to work. Top rate your windows, so you'd press here and open the bottom 2, then open the other 2, push it out, tighten these to keep the window out. If you loosen them, the window will fall back in. You'll be able to lock the window back up. Make sure that your windows and skylights are fully locked before you do start travelling. And then you do have a fly screen for when it's open, or at the bottom you've got a blackout blind for on an evening. In your wardrobe, you've got a freestanding table leg and its small table top. So the leg clips in there or clips in here, and then you can use that top. Or if you go directly behind the driver's seat, you've got a bigger tabletop which goes on the same leg. So it's entirely up to you how big you want it. If you want a little boom arm table, or if you want the big dining table, it's entirely up to you what tabletop you use. So in your washroom, which is a combined toilet washroom area, you've got your shower screen, which will come across the toilet and stop the toilet from getting wet. Push the cabinets in, you'll be able to open them up. You do have your toiletry cabinet, your drop down hand basin. So once you've used it, when you are pushing it back, just be slow with how you push it back, because there is a channel underneath which takes the water. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to flood it. So just slowly push that into there, and that'll drain off via your waste. And then to operate your toilet, press the blue button, which is your fresh water flush. The fan will kick in first. If you just press that until it goes to a solid light, you'll be able to press. You've got your freshwater flush. If you always flush the toilet before use and put a little bit of water in, it helps the seal between the top of the toilet and the bottom of the cassette stay lubricated. And then before you use the toilet, you've then got to open the blade. So this is the blade. If you slide it towards you, you'll open the hatch and everything will then go into the cassette. And then after use, if you give it a good flush and then slide this back to the left, this will shut the cassette. And then when it indicates with the 3 green lights underneath the diagram of the cassette, you'll be able to pull the cassette out and empty it. Should the blade be open, the cassette won't come out the side of the van because the mechanism is still engaged. To operate your snipe TV, what you need to do is press the menu button and then go down to auto tuning, select the UK, and it'll start a tuning process. And you need to retune the telly every time you move, just because you will be picking up different signals. So tune the telly every time you move. This telly is a 12 volt TV. Obviously, if you are struggling, you would then go to the booster at the back, which I've already shown you how to operate. But this will slide in, clips into place when traveling. Press this button here to slide it out, and then you can slide the telly all the way around so that you can watch it in the back lounge as well, or you can have it with the 2 seats spun and watch it here.